Hello, my name is Brianna Renee and I'm a company member with the Leigh Purtill Ballet Company. I recently joined the company in the 2021 seasons and I'm so excited to be a part of this journey. Today I would like to bring you some tips that I have learned and acquired over my past years of experience. Hopefully these tips can help dancers whether they are on point or they're not on point. I will also be including some tips for those that struggle with chronic illness and have to deal with the pain of classical ballet as well, so hopefully it may help you as well. The company is very inclusive, so the first thing I'd like to discuss, which could be quite obvious but many people forget, is a good pair of pointe shoes. I have been on eBay where I could not afford pointe shoes at a time and I bought like the $30, $40 ones that said my exact brand, but when I got them, the shank was almost dead and it almost hurt my ankles. Make sure, I know it's terrible, but make sure you pay the full price for the pointe shoe. I have completely, I will never do that again. eBay can be very sketchy sometimes, so make sure you're buying it from the actual brand. Also, make sure you get them fitted. I know over quarantine, I personally did a virtual pointe shoe fitting, which ended up being very lovely and very good, but I noticed that I wasn't explaining some things correctly, and so I ended up going back to my old pair, and since over quarantine my feet sort of stretched, I had to go up a half a size and it made all the difference. So make sure they fit to your feet, you're not hurting, you're not cramping. Second, for those that are on point, make sure the ribbons are in the area where your arch is. I know if they're a little bit lower, a little bit higher, you can really mess up your arch and Achilles. And make sure when you tie the ribbon that they're in a spot where they're not going to hurt that little Achilles tendon. So just a note for those who are on point. Going along with pointe shoes, I've recently acquired the Perfect Fit Pointe. I wish I had these when I first started Pointe. They have made all the difference. I ended up leaving my pointe shoes on for about 8 hours one day. That's how comfortable these are. I wouldn't recommend it. I ended up getting quite a few blisters, but I didn't feel them when I had them on. So what they do, it's a new technology. You actually mold them to your toes and they actually help prevent injury. I don't know if you can see that, but they're kind of like molded to my toes. And after the molding process is set, they will last for about 6 months. I would say they help prolong your pointe shoe as well. So I would highly, highly recommend these. A girl in the company, Cornelia, actually recommended them to me, so thank you, Cornelia. They have been a lifesaver. Going along with pointe shoes, I get quite a few blisters and ingrown toenails, and I bleed quite often with pointe shoes, so I always have toe tape ready to go, ready to tape up the blisters and everything else, and I will take you through my process for that in a minute. To make sure you're not cramping as much while you're on point, I have this rosin that comes solid and you can crush it up, and I lightly put it at the end of my pointe shoes, because if you're slipping all over the place, it's not gonna help. It's gonna cramp up your feet, and then you're gonna have all these sore muscles that you don't even know you had. You don't want to be cramping up your feet and your ankles because it will do damage in the long run. Next, I have these Hexagels plus aloe. So they are infused with aloe, and it says they're skin-friendly gel patches to protect your skin, and they're super cooling. So they're little square things. I don't know if you can see this. Or I'm sorry, hexagon. And you stick them on the toes or the spots that hurt, and it provides a nice cooling sensation. Next, I have this foot lotion that is a bar foot, and it's infused with tea tree oil, and it's made of plum and peppermint. This actually relaxes your feet so much. It helps tremendously. I massage it in after I do pointe and center work, or if I've just been dancing all day and my muscles start to cramp, I just massage it in gently, and it really actually really helps. I know some dancers, they even put it on other parts of their body and other parts of their body as well. So now I know quite a few ballerinas have been doing this lately, and because I have a chronic illness, I'm on oxygen at rest state and when I sleep. So I have an extra little cannula tube in here, and a lot of dancers actually have been doing oxygen therapy, where they go to oxygen bars, as they call it, and it lessens the pain. So when the oxygen gets to your muscles, dancers have been noticing they have more energy, their muscles aren't as sore, and their muscles are actually more exuberant. For me personally, it definitely helps with things like pain. I have severe flare-ups, so when the oxygen gets in my body, it helps lessen that. You also, if you can't find an oxygen bar near you, you can get these little cans, and it has like 50 sprays of oxygen. That might help if you're desperate as well, but oxygen therapy has been a lifesaver. Next, electrolytes. I cannot hover on this long enough. Besides all the water I drink, when I'm in a class with Leigh or rehearsal with Leigh, I have been downing electrolytes galore. Just like before with my chronic illness, I also can black out if I don't get enough electrolytes, and my muscles can get very weak, so I keep a packet of these in here. It's the Ultimate Replenisher, and the great thing about this is it's cruelty free, and it has 0 calories, 0 carbohydrates. It's called Electrolytes Pure and Simple, and it tastes the best, especially the raspberry. It says, we care about what you put into the body as much as you can. It's made with real fruit flavors, plant-based colors, and sweeteners, only with stevia. It's without sugars and without the calories. I also have this little handy bag that I use for blisters and all sorts of injuries and open wounds when I'm dancing on Pointe or if I'm just dancing in general. So I have in this little pack, I always take a little bottle tube of Neosporin. I've been noticing it quite a lot recently, and it's I also have some rubbing alcohol. If you get a blister, what I do personally is you take a little rubbing alcohol and you put it on that blister. I know, I grew up with Dettol. I don't know if any of you remember that, but it's kind of like the Nike statement, just do it because you don't want infections. Bite your teeth and yeah. The next thing I do for that is I'll take a band-aid and just put some Neosporin on it, and I'll leave it for like a half hour to hour, and then you want it to dry out. I also have this little menthol head, and it's a chemical-free vapor rub to help fight cold and flu symptoms, but a lot of people put it on their sore muscles as well. I put it on my head, I put it on tendons, any place that is basically hurting, because it also gives a cooling sensation as well. I've also used hydrogen peroxide in the past. Some dancers use hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol, and they put it on their toes to help create calluses and help make their toes hard and ready for dancing. Another thing you can do to avoid pain, especially if you're on Pointe, is cut your toenails a couple of days before. Don't cut them right before, because it will hurt like the dickens. Heavens to Betsy. I have done it. If you do have to cut them that day, file them down. When your toes are exposed, more damage can be caused to your toes, and it's more painful when you place pressure on those areas. Also, another tip that works for me is if you have to cut or file straight across, because the more like rounded it is, the point shoe can put pressure on the middle of that nail. So if you can, cut straight across, but make sure you're avoiding the little ingrown toenails that can occur as well. So keep an eye on your toes. Now if I'm really in pain, I will take acetaminophen or Midol. But usually these steps help take care of that. Now if you do get an ingrown toenail, make sure you soak your feet so it's soft when you cut it. And so what do I do to prevent these things from happening, or if they do happen, how do I speed up the process of it? Blood circulation. Again, the oxygen helps. What I do is I do exercises with my feet in the morning. So I will lay on my back in a 90-degree position with my legs up, and I will literally roll through my ankles and the foot every morning. So I'm getting that nice stretch and exercise in my ankles. And it also helps provide blood circulation to the feet and the toes. The more blood circulation, the faster the healing. Now, my absolute favorite thing is my handy dandy golf ball. Don't know where I got it. I think I got it years ago. But some dancers use a tennis ball. Roll out those muscles. Don't skip this process. You will be hurting like crazy. I actually take it on the bottom of my feet and I literally rub through that arch. It hurts like the dickens, but I'm telling you, it will be worth it. Don't do too hard, but do it hard enough so you can feel that almost pain and pressure, especially if you've been on point and your arch is almost forced all the time. You want to roll that out. Also, I do it on the side of my foot, like right below the ankle. So just make sure everything's rolled out, otherwise you will be in so much pain for the next few days. After class or rehearsal, I know a lot of dancers will soak their feet in ice. I personally, coldness causes me more pain, so I do heating pads. Now if it's the summer and I don't want to put a heating pad on, I will wear socks, and that will help my ankles tremendously. Personally, I will take the majority of these things wherever I go, because my ankles can start hurting at any time. My toes can start hurting. I will take my nail clippers, the Neosporin with me everywhere I go. I'm one of those people that, you pack too much, but then you end up needing it. That's like my greatest fear. So I hope these tips have helped you. I hope you can gain some knowledge with them, or maybe some ideas. Thank you so much for your time today, and I will see you guys in the next repertoire of the Leigh Purtill Ballet Company.